Happy Tuesday, y'all. Today off from work. I'm gonna be going to get my nails done. And I made this wheel. Everybody. Come here. Look at the camera. Is that you? I made a wheel. So I will be talking about that. It's gonna be a long video, but I can definitely do it. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's fucking cold. If I had balls, they'd be frozen. Alright. Alright. Volume down in case music decides it wants to play. Oh my god. You guys, it's dying. It's at 10%. But okay. Okay, medical trauma. So junior year of high school. Actually, this is before junior year of high school. Actually, I'm gonna start by saying that this is kind of the reason why I'm a nurse and not a kindergarten teacher. Because I was in a trade school for early childhood, as my friends probably saw in the last video, which is private. But summer of 2018, my mom started getting sick. The medical trauma is not me, it's about my mother. She started getting really sick around July of 2018. She was in and out of the hospital. They couldn't figure out what was going on. She was vomiting constantly, couldn't eat anything. She couldn't do anything. Hospital, our closest hospital, basically well, you're just drug seeking. So that's what I have to say to that. And they ended up referring us to a different hospital where she was treated like crap. She was treated horribly. I'm not gonna drop hospital names, but there were 4 different hospitals involved. First one thought she was drug seeking. The second one, they did an unnecessary exploratory laparoscopic surgery on her. Because they thought she had scar tissue, and that was the reason why she was throwing up. So she was out of that hospital, which was an hour and a half away, still very nauseous, vomiting. The only thing that worked for the nausea was IV Zofran, which she obviously can't take at home. They did the laparoscopic exploratory on her, remove any scar tissue that might be obstructing her GI tract, which might cause nausea, vomiting. And it worked for maybe a week. And then the nausea came back. And then when she went back to the hospital, that hospital specifically, they were like, well, I don't know what to do now. So they basically sent her home. That was the last of that hospital. So the first hospital, she was drug seeking. The second hospital, they did an unnecessary surgery on her. Now we're going to talk about the third and the fourth hospital. Third hospital she went to, first time she went there was a few days after we were done messing with the second hospital. Same thing, nausea, vomiting, malnourished. She was losing weight quick at this point, she was increasingly weak. So the third hospital ended up admitting her and then transferring her to the fourth hospital because they didn't know what was going on. So they're like, yeah, we're just going to transfer you. We're not going to completely dismiss you. The fourth hospital ran tests on her. This is, I'm horrible at telling stories, but so the first hospital was in July, August. The second hospital was August to the beginning of October. So I had already started school at this point. It was my junior year of high school, which I missed the most time. Anyways, this third hospital, they sent her to the fourth hospital, which is a teaching hospital, 2 hours away from her house. She got some really good IV medicine there. They did tests. They did a regimen, a bowel regimen or whatever. I'm not sure what they did. Antibiotics, things like that. Bowel rest. Felt great for a while. I was able to go home 4 or 5 days later. This was mid to late October of 2018. She ended up having to go back to the hospital. At this point, from here up until Boxing Day of 2018, she was constantly in and out of hospital number 3. She was in the ICU for Thanksgiving. My brother had, I don't remember what my brother had. My brother had like a tuna sandwich or something for Thanksgiving dinner, and I had ramen. For Thanksgiving lunch, I had dry turkey in the hospital cafeteria. It wasn't horrible, but it's just not really, it wasn't really good. A lot colder than it looks outside. It's 36 degrees in April. That's kind of dumb. Yeah, spent Thanksgiving in the ICU. Came home a few days later. Was consistently like in and out of the med surg floor. She luckily got to spend Christmas at home. Boxing Day, she had like an appointment at that teaching hospital, which is hospital number 4, and they decided to admit her after that appointment for whatever reason. She was there until maybe New Year's Eve. My dad and we spent 2 nights at a motel. First night I was there, I got stared down by a man in his mid-40s. Hey, I'm 16. Hey, I'm a minor. Hey, you're a predator. You're a pervert. Anyways, all they did was like a couple of CT scans. They didn't really do anything. They suspected that the reason behind her nausea and vomiting was being like a kidney stone. That wasn't seen on any other scans, but they didn't do anything about it. They just said, oh, kidney stone. See you later, bye. Basically, my mom signed out AMA because they weren't doing anything for her. So what's the point? And I want to say 2 weeks later, she ends up going back to hospital number 3, where a new emergency room PA finds the kidney stone. Consults urology. Urology comes in. They're like, we're gonna do like a cystoscopy. They like stick like a camera or something up your urethra, and they like break apart the stone, and then they extract it. That's what they did. And they put a little stent in the ureter. So they did that, and that did end up being the reason behind the nausea and vomiting. They called it renal colic. But at that point, this was in January, middle of January. At that point, she was so malnourished from not being able to eat, not being taken seriously by doctors. And then she was so malnourished to the point where she started developing sores in her mouth. The skin on her legs started blistering and it's sloughing off. For those of you who don't know what that is, you might think that I said she was developing sores in her mouth. You're thinking, oh, maybe she just has thrush, which it's not just thrush. It's awful. I've had patients with thrush. It's super painful. But this was Stevens-Johnson syndrome that she had. And a lot of the nurses at that hospital, hospital number 3, had never seen it before. Like, they were taught about it in school and textbooks, but they had never had a patient with it. She was admitted to progressive care, extensive wound care. She ended up like IV antibiotics, wound care. She ended up with cellulitis in the hip, assuming that one of the wounds got infected. And these idiots, well, not the nurses, but the doctor who discharged her, so stupid, sent her home with a fever, like 101, lethargic, didn't stand up at this point. She was like pretty much bedbound. 2 days after she was discharged from the hospital with the Stevens-Johnsons on, I want to say February 23rd, 2019, she was rushed to the ER, and I remember texting my dad. I'm like, you need to answer me. What's going on with her? Because I really hadn't heard anything from anybody. All I knew was that mom's really not doing well. She needs to go to the hospital. And he said, she has sepsis. I'll call you back. Well, now I'm panicking. I Google sepsis. Holy fuck. Sepsis is the leading cause of death. But people don't tend to say, oh, this person died of sepsis. They say, oh, this person died of pneumonia. I don't know, whatever infection they had. It's sepsis. Not only was she in sepsis, she was in septic shock. She was on like a BiPAP. They rushed her up to ICU. They said, basically told my dad, like, we would be shocked if she made it through the night. That's crazy. And like, I couldn't really process it at the time. I was 16. I didn't know that she was going to be dead. Thought she was going to pass overnight. They put a BiPAP mask on her. She was on Crescu for a week and a half. She made it. I was there almost every day. I had missed so much school. And I had teachers in high school that gave me so much shit about missing school. You don't want to know what I'm going through right now. My mom she's my go-to person. I don't know what I would do without her. Yeah, just terrible. So she was in ICU for a week and a half. Then she was brought to a med-surg floor. And then she went to rehab for 3 weeks. Worst care facility on the face of the earth. And I've seen a lot of crappy nursing homes. Working in a hospital, you see a lot of patients come in from long-term care facilities. Bed sores, malnutrition, infections because they don't have the staff to change them. This facility that she was at was so run down. There was no staff. Staff there, not only were they short-staffed, but I don't think they really cared about the patients there. And that's terrible to say at being a nurse, but sometimes that is the truth. It's just a really crappy situation. Anyways, she gained some strength. 3 weeks later, insurance basically shoved her out the door. Well, you're shit out of luck now. Oh my gosh, that's great. Yeah, basically threw her out of the door of the rehab place, which, I mean, she didn't want to be there anyway. She was in a wheelchair for about 2 months, transitioned over to a walker. By the time she gained as much strength back as she could, it was already like at the point where sepsis and the Stevens-Johnsons and the chronic illnesses just took such a toll on her body. At that point, she had so much damage to the joints, to her heart. She ended up with heart failure. She ended up having to get both knees replaced. 2021. I mean, I wouldn't say that's necessarily related to the sepsis as much as it is arthritis that she already had. But she didn't have the strength to recover well. Knee replacement surgeries. And the left one ultimately ended up failing. The right one's good. The left one, not so much. She's got neuropathy related to the sepsis. We actually went to the neurologist yesterday. He didn't take a single thing she said seriously. You get one of them Mr. Perfect doctors who won the genetic lottery and thinks that they're... Even I'll go to the doctors and I'm not particular... I'd like to say that, like, my mom is technically, like, on the heavier side. I'm considered overweight. The crap from male doctors saying, oh, well, maybe if you lose a couple pounds, oh, you got a hernia starting, oh, you're just fat. Just go do some crunches. You need to build your core strength. Fatty, big old heifer. Shut up. This is why I will never go to a male doctor. They only ever listen to guys. They don't listen to women. They never listen to women. The only actual doctors, the only reason I had to see this guy was because my NP had left the state at that point and she wasn't there anymore. But I've only ever had female doctors or female providers. I haven't had like an actual MD until right now. I have had 2 providers up until this point, and they were both nurse practitioners. But that is just crazy to think about. 2025, there's like still the stigma behind weight and how it's always got it. Everything just comes right back to you're fat. Hey, I don't care. My NP said I was healthy. Don't worry about your BMI. You're healthy. You're a healthy girl. You're up and moving. You're a nurse. You work 12 hours a day. Where you're running around the floor like a chicken. Don't worry about it. one time I see a man, he's like, well, maybe if you lose a good 20 pounds, you wouldn't have this hernia issue. Hey, go f yourself. Gosh, I hate men. Why do you think I haven't had a boyfriend since junior year of high school? Oh, another thing that went on throughout the whole my old mother's hospital thing. You know the guy I was talking about in the last video? My friends would know. But he broke up with me via text when she was at the learning hospital. I'll put like a little screenshot right here of what he said. And I'll be like, okay, guess you never really cared about me then. Blocked him. I unfriended him. My dad sent him a scathing message. And at the time I was like, yeah, message him. I'm like, why'd you do that? Don't be getting into my personal relationship. That's the quickest way to piss me off. Anyways, I'm almost there. I might spin the wheel again, see if I can get it on Safari. Oh, I might spin the wheel again. And we can do another little rant session on the way home, or maybe on my way to the hairstylist tomorrow. Because I'm going back to blonde tomorrow. Haven't had my hair done in over almost a year. And that includes cutting my hair. So I just have these dead ends, like. See that? See this? This is dead hair. We don't like this. But tomorrow we're gonna go to my family friend, and she's going to make my hair blonde and shorter for the spring and summer. My hair is way too long. It's the longest my hair has ever been, I think. But yeah. I will see you guys in the next video. Update, got my nails done.